welcome back once again. Another edition of Inside the Headset. Week 7, Game 7, fall break here in Rutherford County, but not so much of a break for Coach Thomas McDaniel. Coach, what's been going on?
Oh man, just enjoyed a couple of days off with my family. Went to a MTCS ball game last week. Don't get to see them play very often, and they're pretty good football team this year. Got to watch them play Moore County last Friday. And, rested, relaxed a little bit, and getting ready for Baylor. So, we gave the kids off the end of last week, like I told you, and then came in Tuesday morning, and, we've had a great week, great energy. Kids are obviously recharged and don't have to do school, so that, obviously helps. And we let them sleep in. They didn't get here till 9, so just been a very positive week. I'm, really happy, with where we are. Still got a couple, nicks and bruises that we need to get healed up, but for the most part, mentally and physically, we're pretty healthy, and it's just the break has been good for us. So hopefully, we put it all together Friday and play well. But if the last 3 days of preparation are any indication, then I think we're in a good spot.
Anything you did different as far as your practice? Did you work on anything specifically that you can talk to the fans about?
Well, I think we've kind of changed up our practices a little bit. Like I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, we're starting to shorten down a little, it's getting darker a little earlier. Season's starting to wear on you a little bit. It's time to start focusing on your main people a little bit more. Our JV guys still are getting some reps, but they really get their reps through servicing the varsity, and then obviously they get a chance to play on Monday nights. But it really kind of consolidating, reps, not going as long, I guess, just trying to keep their legs fresh, keep them mentally and physically charged, and which, again, the break helped with that. But the way we manage practice, I think, can help that as well. And then also, I was telling you about the special teams, the way we were doing that. That's, again, we're still in time during practice, with the amount of kids we got and the size of our staff, we're able to steal some time that most people can't steal. So even though it may only sound like 15 or 20 minutes, when you add that up for a week, that's an hour of practice time that we're able to eliminate, and that it's an hour that they're not here. That's an hour of time throughout the week that the coaches get to be with their family, which to me is important now. When I was younger, I didn't think about it, but it makes a lot more difference when you got 2 little girls at home that are waiting on you, and then the kids. They don't. It's an hour off their legs. So that's helped, and then I think. We've just done some things at practice strategy-wise, just as far as the number of reps and the tempo we're going at and what we're expecting during certain things, creating a real good energy the last week or so with what we want. Just little things culturally getting running.
Sounds like some things are starting to come together where you're not having to repeat the play so much, even though repetition does make it perfect. But it sounds like to me the little things that you had maybe week 0 or those kind of fading away.
Yeah, they are. We still got, our biggest concern right now is, pulling the trigger and saying there's our quarterback. And I still don't think we're at the point where we've got a clear-cut number 1. But I think just as a group right now, we're in a really good place mentally. The guys are very positive. Are we striving every day to be the best we can be to get ready for the playoffs? I don't know that yet. We haven't really talked about that. It's kind of early to be sitting there saying, playoffs when we still got 4 games remaining on our schedule. So, you never want to look too far ahead, but obviously we're at the turning point in the season where we need to be getting healthy and playing our best football going into the playoffs. And I don't think we haven't talked about it a whole lot, but our kids, I think, understand that. We've got a mature group, so they know that long term, we got. And again, people are going to say, well, just the inevitable rematch, but that's not the way we're looking at it. And I don't think our kids look at it that way. We got 4 games left. All of them will be different challenges for us, and whoever we end up playing in the playoffs is going to be a good football team. And I think on any given night, you've seen in years past different groups, but on any given night, somebody can get beat if you're not prepared. So we're not looking at it as, hey, here's the road to meet Blackman again. We're looking at it as, here's the road to the playoffs. Hopefully we're playing our best football in the playoffs.
Which is Oakland's road.
That's right.
You want Oakland's road.
But it's just I was out to eat the other night with my wife, and I ran into a football fan. Not you, because I ran into you too, but I ran into another guy that I know, and he even said, he goes, man, I can't wait for that rematch. And you can't, I can't explain to you how many times I get to hear that. It's all the time. And we're only halfway through the season, really, and there's no predestined fate.
If that occurs, that would be 7 more games. You've got 7 more weeks.
That's right. So anyway, I mean, but that's the way that's just the way the process is. And just like, I think we talked about, even Coach Shad and I talked about, if we played week 0, what are the pluses and minuses aside from the ESPN part? The pluses are you get it over with and everybody quit talking about it. The negative was
they're going to start talking about it again.
It was a great game, and everybody, I think everybody agreed it was just an awesome game, and now everybody's talking about the rematch, and that can be frustrating. But I say all that because I think what I'm saying for us mentally is we're in a good place because we're fresh, they're excited, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. We've continued to stress that culture of team, and get out of the individualism. And I really think we're getting where we need to be there. I got a real good feeling about that. 2 weeks ago, we did an interview and you thought I was going to turn the table upside down. So, there's peaks and valleys in this job, ebbs and flows, just like everything else. There's good days and bad. Every day's exciting. Every day's a new challenge. That's for sure. But right now, our kids are in a really good spot. I think about doing what the expectation level is, and I'm excited about tomorrow night because. Like I told you last week, you could see and get a feel for our kids going into the Brentwood game that, hey, they're ready to play. And that's good, but they were also super confident, and not to be disrespectful of Brentwood, but they knew we were better than Brentwood. And it's easy to be confident going into a game that you know that you're going to win pretty handedly. This Friday, much different opponent, and if we need to be playing well and playing with the supreme confidence, but can we put it all together? And can we put it all together for 48 minutes? We haven't really done that yet. And not only that, but I think, really to be honest, if we put it all together early, most people we play won't be 48-minute games. And I hate to sound, crude, but I think if we come out and start the way we're supposed to and get off to a good jump on defense and we're clicking offensively, we can do a lot of great things. And games won't be 48-minute games most of the time. Now, that's not to say Baylor wouldn't be, because I think Baylor is good enough to take us. They're going to give us all we want and then some. They're very talented. But, I'm excited to see, can we start fast, can we sustain, and can we finish when we need to? And we need an opponent like Baylor to, stand toe-to-toe with us, and let's see, can we put it up? Because we just haven't done that yet, and where we are as a group, I think we're ready to take that next step, which is exciting. So, all's well, man.
You talked about the off time and spending time with your wife and stuff. How important is it to have family with you as you go through this season and each and every season? But just being a football coach and explain to the fans, it's a lot of hours, and you wake up probably in the middle of the night, and you get up and there's all this, and you got something on your mind, you can't sleep, or kind of take it slow through that.
Yeah, it's a grind, man. I mean, it's not proverbial either. I mean, it's the real deal. I mean, it's a long season. Every week is. I love it, man. I mean, I freaking love it. It's just I don't look at it as a job. I love getting through the game on Friday and immediately watching the film, staying up late, getting up early on Saturday. I mean, between Friday night and Saturday, I'm a 4.5 hour sleep guy. During the week, I'm an 8-hour dude. I love to get 8. During football season, 8's not going to happen very often. And we've done some things just culturally as far as a staff different the last few years. And again, part of it's me having a family. Part of it's maturing a little bit and seeing that you can do things differently. You don't always have to do things the way it's always done in the past. And when we first got here, man, we'd work, 20, 25 hours a weekend. And I mean, it's 8-10-hour days, Saturday and Sunday, and it was just all day, 7 days a week, and it's just too much. I mean, freshman games on Thursday nights, JV games on Monday nights, middle school games on Wednesday nights, which I like to go to and be present at. So, I mean, you look up and it's 7 days nonstop. But as a collective group, the coaches in the county a couple of years ago came together and agreed to do the JV and freshman on Mondays together, which was great because now Thursdays are free. And on the weekends, we just don't.
And you're not competing with a Thursday night college football game. That gate is still important to the freshmen, and you want a good crowd. And
Yeah.
if you blow it on a Thursday night,
Right.
you're competing with ESPN and
That's right.
outlets.
Yeah, and it's been better. It's just been a better all over experience for everybody. I think when we all agreed to do it, we were kind of experimenting. We didn't really know what was going to happen. Mondays are crazy because you go through the weekend and you're getting ready for your next opponent on Monday, and sometimes, especially depending on who you play, you'd rather be practicing for 2.5 hours than practicing for an hour. And sometimes
those JV guys are coming along. They can play Friday night because there's a plenty enough in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. And and you and I talked about this before too. I mean, we're probably a little guilty of working our younger guys too much at times. We try to find that balance of working the veteran guys enough to keep them where they need to be, and at the same time bringing those younger guys along for the next year. And typically we play really well in our JV games, so I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we get a lot of work and practice. But anyway, that's helped out. And then on the weekends, we've just not, we haven't met as a staff. I think it speaks pretty highly of my staff, and I think anybody that knows this coaching community in Rutherford County, I think everybody knows that I have a great staff. I mean, I'm very fortunate to have the group of guys work with me. I guess loyalty probably is the number one trait you look for in coaching. I got a very loyal staff.
Yeah, because if somebody jumps in this county or moves around, everything that you did or said, it's going to move around. You got to stay flat in your conversation. You got to stay flat.
Yeah, very little turnover on our staff, and it's a credit to them because I probably, looking back on it now, I'm probably not the easiest guy to work for at times. I've had coaches that I've had to meet with, and I'm not a guy that's going to walk in and sit down and talk about everybody's family and house.
You're traded. That's it. Plane leaves tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty focused on one thing once I walk through the door, and sometimes I don't even turn around and say hi to people. And I say all that because I'm probably not the easiest guy to work for. I'm pretty demanding and pretty vocal and opinionated and all that stuff. But I've got a group that's been very loyal to me, been very loyal. I think ultimately been loyal to Oakland and what we've tried to build here and the culture that we've tried to create for our kids. And then I think they just love our kids. I mean, I think I don't know, high maintenance probably would be one way to describe them, but our kids are pretty high maintenance. I mean, and I don't mean because we got some D1 players. I mean, we got a true melting pot of kids in our locker room, and they're all different. They all have different stories. Every one of them's unique, but they are high maintenance. I mean, there's a lot of different challenges that come into every one of those kids, and I'm big on relationships. I think nowadays you got to get coaches to build relationships with them. If you want them to play well and play to the best of their ability, you have to get some type of relationship going with them. And it's not just about a practice. It's got to be through taking them out to eat or spending time with them watching film one-on-one or having them over for dinner or just whatever. I mean, every coach is a little different, but again, I've been very fortunate that I have an unbelievable staff. Does a great job studying football in the off season. They all understand the investment we have to make in our off-season program with the weight room and things like that. Got a great principal that supports us 100%, so it allows us a lot of benefits that other people don't get. And there's other guys in the county that get frustrated because they don't get, we get a spot come open and
Howard Schnellenberger said that most of all when he came to Louisville. He said, if I come, you guys got to support me.
Yeah.
You got to do what, if I ask for something, I've got to have it. It's not an if, and, or but. Because if not, then you won't be able to do it. It's got to be my way, and I think that's what you're saying.
Mr. Spurlock is, there's a lot of things I can't ask for, but for the most part, anytime I've needed something or I've gone to him for help, he's tried to help me. And the assistant principals are the same way, and it doesn't matter what situation they're on. And I don't think it's about, I think you get into sometimes, they play favorites for football, and that gets on my nerves. It gets so sickening. When there are certain people within the school that it's just a jealousy thing at times, and there's really nothing to be jealous of. We're all in the same building, we're all under the same umbrella. We're supposed to be a family, and but I say all that because I think our administration recognizes just how important athletics is. I know that they support all athletics, and but you know, like I said, with my group of guys, we got 100 kids that are impacted every day. Some of those kids, if they're not in football, then their demeanor in the school building can change, and so it's a win-win for everybody, you know. And
when they're working, they're really in a better groove when they're disciplined. Like
absolutely, and a lot of them, you know, they come back. I mean, guys come back all the time. A lot of them, you know, don't realize it till they're gone. But I mean, it helps, you know, get them through some struggles and puts them on the right path to where they need to start being an adult. And so anyway, all that being said, again. It's a grind for the family, and but we've done a better job the last couple of years of learning how to handle that time management with the staff, and you know, keeping a nice balance of work and having some downtime to be with your family. You know, everybody likes watching college football. We all want to watch the Titans, but there's sacrifices that got. Well, I don't know if everybody wants to watch the Titans anymore.
Careful there.
But I mean. You know, I think the great thing about my staff is we don't really work together on Saturday mornings, and yet Saturday morning I get in here early, and by 8 o'clock most of my staff's in here working. They don't have to be, but they choose to be, and I think they all have tried to figure out a nice balance because they want to make sure they're putting enough time in to do. I don't have any coaches that go out on the field, I don't think, and aren't prepared, and I think our players would tell you that I have multiple players come back all the time and say, and I'm talking about college players that come back and say, you know, our practices are run as well. They're as good or better organized, and they're tougher, more disciplined practices than what they have to do with the college. So, you know, makes you feel good as a coach. I think we do things the right way. It doesn't always correlate in wins and losses. Some of that has to do with talent. Some of that has to do with the luck of the, you know, the whatever. But you know, we believe in what we're doing, and you know, I think it's been successful for us.
Shift gears, one more topic, then we'll talk about the Red Raiders. Leadership, you know, you talk about it, and you know, you talk about trying to find a quarterback, but has that guy stepped up to, you know, because kids will follow one or two kids in the group. Have you had that? I guess what I'd like to call it is the Clint Eastwood. Have you got a guy right now, or a couple of individuals that are basically standing up? You don't have to give out those names or who those are or anything. I just want to know, are those kids taking hold of the rein to say, you know, because at one point you're going to have to let go. They're going to have to take it and run with it because it's their season.
Well, to me that's the alpha male, and we don't. I don't think we have the alpha male. I think we got, and I think, you know, with that being said, the positive is, as a group, they're they're a loose group, they're a goofy group. They all have their own personality. I think the ones that need to take hold when it's time to get focused and get down to work, I think those guys are learning how to take control. I don't think you can point at one guy and say, that's the dude. I kind of wish we did, but to be honest with you, collectively, they've all done a better job of, you know, leading. And the bottom line is, man, James Franklin said it when he was at Vanderbilt. You know, if people talk about and write books about, do seminars on leadership, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, the ones that even are freshmen and sophomores in college, they are not ready to lead. I mean, leadership, for the most part, is not natural. I mean,
no, it would have to be natural.
Yeah,
if you had somebody, it would have to be natural, or a kid that had been groomed from a very young age.
We got a couple that are natural leaders, but most of them are not. I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but my theory on it is, I mean, kids defy authority. I mean, it's just, you know, they're always having told in school and at home, no, you can't do this, yes, you can do that. And which is good for them, but as a kid, you don't like that.
Since day one, no, don't touch that.
Yeah. But you know, I say that because they look at leadership as being an authority figure, and they don't want to be the person that stands up there and tells everybody else what they don't want to hear. They're about what I guess
going along with the program.
Yeah, they're you know, they want to have buddies. They don't want to buck the system. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Kids are super sensitive nowadays, and you gotta, you know, they want to get brownie points with their buddy, or, you know, so and so's got a pull. I need to make sure I keep him on my good side. Or, you know, they got that new that new house with the big bonus room, and I need to make, I'm just saying, kids think about stuff that as a coach you rarely even consider. And so
they don't have anything to do with Friday night.
No,
Nothing
exactly.
to do with Friday night.
And just like I've learned over time, every kid is going to take losses differently. You see some kids when it's over with, and you think, man, that kid don't care. It's not that they don't care. It's just, but at the end of the day, it's a game to them, and they don't think about it at the time. I think what we try to do, what I try to do, is help kids understand. Here's the investment you've made. Here's the amount of years you've been working for this season and for this game and for this, this last stretch, whatever at that moment is right now. For us, is these last 4. But you've been putting in 4 years of work and investing that much time. So it needs to mean something. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying kids don't think it means anything, but, after something like that happens, man, it's short memory. It's on to the next thing. I mean, we came back after the Blackman game on Tuesday, and shoot, they were ready to go to work. I just think, it didn't.
You'd still been thinking about it. It had still been preying on your mind, and it was still killing you.
And I can't remember. I saw somebody last weekend at the MTCS game, and I just I thought about my parents after that MTCS game, because I was talking to a Moore County parent, and he was talking about dreading to go home to his kid. I mean, when I was in high school and we lost, my parents probably were just miserable, because I was probably the biggest jerk. I mean, for days. I mean, I was one of those kids that if we got beat, man, I wouldn't talk to anybody for 4 or 5 days. Just leave me alone. I wore it on my sleeves, and I mean, that's just from my competitive standpoint. That's the way I am. A lot of kids, that doesn't mean they're not competitive. They just, when it's over, it's over. And so anyway, we don't have that.
Maybe they put it down better, Coach.
Yeah.
I mean, when in the early days, I think when I was working in my job, I would take some of that work home. Whereas a lot of people say, you'll burn out if you don't watch it, you're going to have to drop it at 5 o'clock, and then sometimes you got to take it home. I mean, you've got to if you're going to be successful and be at the top.
Coach Rankin told me a long time ago when I was young that it's never as important to them as you think it is, and it's, it's not to say it's not as important to them as it is to you, but their investment and our investment in this is totally different. They're a player, we're a coach, and again, they got so many things pulling at them. Most of them, at the end of the day, when it's over, they're not going to reflect or realize until it's taken away, And you can sit there and have that speech with them. We do it every year. I got to sit there after the Blackman loss last year in the playoffs and have all these big kids come up and, they're crying snot and stuff all over me. And, it's sad because you tell them over and over, when it's gone, it's gone. One of the hardest things for these kids is when it's over and we got to pull them out of that locker room so that we can start what will now be the 2015 football team for next year. That day is coming quick. That day is coming where Jack Jones and Kyle Oliver and Josh Smith and Kevin Prather and George Beasy and Josh Cunningham, these guys have been in this program for 4 years, and they're going to be taking their stuff out of that locker room, and they will never go back in there again. It's over. And all those kids are going to get a chance to play college football, but it's different. And, they all come back and in their own way say, it might be 2 weeks, it might be a month, it might be next summer, but man, you were right. It's just, but it's,
yeah.
You can say that over and over, but it doesn't matter. The impact's not going to be there until it really happens. I mean, so anyway, again, don't have the alpha male. Like you could look and say, well, Jack ought to be an alpha male. Kevin Prather ought to be an alpha male. But to me right now, they're all collectively doing a good job of just holding each other accountable. I think, where we're at right this second is we're in a really good place. I hear Kevin being more vocal. Kevin's not a vocal guy. Josh Smith's being more vocal, and he's playing some of his best football, so he's gotten more consistent. Our older quarterback, Jacory, has kind of gotten comfortable and starting to take a little bit of leadership role in the offensive huddle when he's in there. I like seeing that because I think he's got a demeanor or a command about him that kind of looks like a quarterback, in which that's what you want. And pretty focused kid, so we got some guys coming along in the right way. And like I said, just right now, real positive about the direction we're headed.
Fantastic. Red Raiders tomorrow night. What's it going to take to beat these guys? And I know 48 minutes, but
I mean, like I told you last week, they got a very talented quarterback in Nick Tiano. Committed to Mississippi State, 6'5", 235. I mean, just big physical specimen.
You're going to see right off he's a college football player.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think second or third play of the game last year, he made a throw. I don't we talked about this or not, but he made a throw almost last year on number 2, ran a bender route in behind the mic, you know, in front of the safety, you know, and those type of kids. Number one, you know, it's one thing to draw things on the board and have schemes, but I mean, for kids to really understand where's the soft spot in the defense and where you're supposed to run the route and how am I supposed to bend this, you know, you got to have some football IQ. And obviously, their kids are highly intelligent kids, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're football intelligent, but most of their kids are. I think you look at what Coach Massey's done at Baylor in the 7 years he's been there, very consistent, and they're always going to be well coached. They're always going to be disciplined. They're always going to be in position, you know, whatever. So, you know, again, I think until last year, the 6 years previous, every public school game they played in, they never lost to a public school until they lost to us last year. So, I mean, I don't know what that tells you, but it says something, and they're just disciplined, man. Great in the kicking game. Kicker's going to kick it out back of the end zone most of the time. Just playing a young tailback. They lost a really good tailback last year to graduation, but pretty big on both sides of the front. And offensively, they'll have a really good plan against us. They did last year. We got to get him uncomfortable. You got to put pressure on him through your front or through, you know, blitzes or whatever, but we gotta make him uncomfortable in the pocket so that he doesn't have time to sit back and deliver the ball. Because if he does, he's extremely accurate. And then offensively, for us, their defense is a you know, a little bit of a dilemma because they're a 3-3 stack, and it's not something that you typically see. You don't see.
What will you do on that? I mean, or what do you typically like to do?
It's tough, man. I mean, you just do what you do. I mean, you know, there's some things schematically we got to try to change. Nothing crazy. I mean, we're going to do what we do. But when you have those 3 stack linebackers back there on the second level, and you got those down linemen moving as much as they do, it can cause you some problems on your pass and landmarks on getting to your assignments. And they're a little more unorthodox than they have been. They're creating more pressure. Some people run the 3-3 and blitz all the time. That's not been Baylor traditionally. They've been a little bit more aggressive, and I don't know if that's just their personnel or if they feel like they're a little weaker on defense than they were in the past. But they take a few more chances. Hopefully, we can capitalize. Obviously, they're going to hit us in the backfield some. So, but
that's your weapon.
Yeah, it'll come down to us being, you know, dominant at the point of attack up front, and really on both sides. Yeah, I know it's such a cliche and you say it every week, but our defensive front, if our defensive front can do what we've done most of the games, and we can hold our ground and be able to keep a 4 high structure in secondary and make them have to throw it underneath, then, you know, if they can run it on us with our defensive linemen just holding up, then, you know, we'll have to do more things schematically. If they can't, then it puts them in predictable situations, and we can be very multiple on defense. That's a key. And then offensively, we got to establish a run game, so our offensive line has to play well. You know, again, they've had a great week of practice. We're getting healthier. Jack feels a lot better. Hudson Smith's, you know, really starting to play his best football right now. And then our 3 interior seniors, John Ralston, Jackson Jordan, and Twan Henderson are starting to play their best football. So another exciting thing for us is I think we're getting better across the board. Our backs are hitting it downhill better. You know, so anyway, all in all, I think we'll play a great game, but we'll have to play great against you know, Baylor. They got beat Friday against McCallie. McCallie's an extremely talented football team, but that's their only loss of the season. So they beat a tough NBA team. You know, I think Knox Webb early in the year. It's a tough private school up there.
Right.
Knoxville. So they've beaten some very good teams, and it'll take a great effort on our part, but I think we're ready for it.
All right, tomorrow night right here at Ray Hughes Stadium on the Oakland campus, Oakland Patriots and Baylor Red Raiders. 7 o'clock kickoff. It's the only game in town. You be there.